So this is going to be my template, which is my wife's tray. So break it. So I've printed out the Carla wording. Now that's on an A4 landscape, so hopefully that will fit inside the heart once I've drawn that out. So I'm going to need to do a little bit of finalising on that heart to see whether it needs to be a bit bigger, which I think it might. So leftover pieces of wood that I'm hoping that will be for the heart, all being well. Okay. And some pallet wood that I've already stripped down, just need to denail and get those cleaned up, but I'm probably looking only to go between the midsections, so maybe not need to take the nails out, just be cutting across. Okay, so that's all my materials ready. Let's get started. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is work out whether the heart bowl is the right size for the lettering. If not, then we're going to scale this up. So initially, offering this up, it's not too bad, to be honest. The only concern is the last A, the astonishing G, gets a little bit too close to the edge when everything else around it is framed in. So you can just see the curvature at the top of the heart there. It's not too bad. I think I might just go slightly bigger, just to ensure that the wording is all nicely centralised inside the heart itself. Okay, so what I'm going to do to achieve the upscaling of the heart, as I only need to go slightly bigger, is to use a large washer. Now, using one, unfortunately, slides in underneath the bowl itself, so I'm just going to use a stack of them and a pencil and go around the outline, and that will upscale the size of the heart. You could use that on anything. So placing the washers alongside. There we go. So there you go. So we've upscaled that heart. Now we're going to see that the wording should fit inside that a little bit more framed like, so it doesn't look out of place. So I don't know whether you can make out from the video that the heart shape on there in pencil. It is a little bit light, it's only single line. But now the wording sits inside the heart a little bit better, framed better. So I think I'm happy with the size of that heart. Get it cut out and get it glued together. So a quick clean up of the excess glue squeezing out. I'm planning on this being on the face side, so on the underside there, any squeeze out will just get sanded off, but it will be lost later on in the project anyway, so it won't see. So just wiped off the excess. Now I'm going to put a weight on this just to keep it down so it doesn't start curling up in the drying process. So we'll come back. Okay, so whilst the heart is still gluing and setting away there, I just want to give a rough measurement so that I then know how many boards that I need side by side and then what sort of length I need to cut them to. So with the original pieces clamping that together, that's given me a good idea of where I want that heart in the length of those pieces of wood. So I'm going to actually use what we have here, and it's coming out at 430 ml, but I've got room there to take it back to 40 again because I don't want this piece to be too big. Now with the heart itself, it's measuring at 340 mil, so I'm going to go I'm going to go 450. So we're going to go 450 across and 400 in length, so we can get those pieces measured and cut. Okay, so I want to get the backboard part done with the project, and that's these reclaimed pallet pieces of wood. Now they do still have the nails in them from once they were taken apart. Now I don't want to actually take the nails out because this is going to be the face of the piece, and by forcing those nails out it may split the wood. So all I'm going to do is break those off. They're rusty enough so they should break out. Okay, so we've given this a couple of hours to set and let the glue go off. Let's take this off now and let's have a look. There we go. So we now have our heart shape. What we're going to do now is give this a clean up. Okay, so now I've trimmed around the board to make sure it's all square. I'm going to now give the heart a softer edge using my trim router with just a small beveled router bit. And I'm just going to play that on a scrap piece of wood first, make sure I'm happy with the depth and the roundness of the edge, and then we'll apply that to the heart itself. Okay, so I've laid the heart out now and I've put it on a microfiber cloth. That will just help prevent any movement whilst going round with the router. I've also just given myself a check round, making sure that I'm clear of anything and nothing's going to foul as you're going round. So let's have a go at this now. Okay, so pretty pleased with that. Got a bit of sanding and cleaning up to do, and I'm going to sand the face so it's nice and smooth. So ready to go to be fitted to the boarding and then the lettering. So this side is the dry side, so you can see it says Carla that side, and that's the wet side that we're going to lay down onto some wood. So let's give that a go. So I went ahead and sprayed this with lacquer, and that's sealed off the ink to stop it bleeding out if it's touched or rubbed, so it's not coming off now. I was just using this rushed oleum clear crystal. It's a clear semi-gloss finish, so I'm going to now paint over that, varnish over that with some of the Ron seal. Now that it's sealed, it's not going to bleed it, so I'm going to use that now. So from here I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to mount it. I'm going to mount it onto here. Hopefully looking something like that. And we're going to also frame it with 12 by 32 mil. Some pine. As you can see, it's been outside, got a bit of weather damage to it. We'll give that a sand up and a varnish. Hopefully that should be okay as well. Okay, so we've allowed this now to cure and set over a couple of hours. I'm going to take these weights and clamps off and have a look at final. So as you can see, all the joints are clean of any glue, so that's going to limit any clean-up or getting rid of any overspill. And the reason I clean them up beforehand is because I want to keep this surface and this colour. If I sand it, I'm going to end up with a lighter finish, and I didn't want that. So before I mount the heart onto the front of this, I'm going to put some supports on the back. This will keep the face-boards in a straight line and won't allow them to warp if there's any movement in the future, but also it will give it somewhere for a hanging point as well when it's up there. So I've left it overnight to let the glue go off, and with the weight on the top just to keep everything down. So let's have a look at the result. So really pleased with this. Turned out really well. So all I'm going to do now is just clean up the mitered joints using some glue and some sawdust, and the lines and the cracks will disappear. And then I'm going to give it a couple of coats of varnish on the Ron Seal varnish. And then that is it, job done.